Hello, everybody. It is Code Mode here, and today we're going to be talking about Yusuke Kitagawa, professional high school student starving artist, gone phantom thief. There are some good things to say about it, I'm sure. Lots of great things that I totally appreciate about him. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with all of you. I did not like Yusuke Kitagawa, so that put me in a position. I could do one of three things, YouTube. I could do one of three things. One, quit, resign myself, commit myself to living in my parents' basement for the rest of my life. Maybe better than making a video about Yusuke. Okay, that is an option. Option two, disregard Yusuke, move on, and never acknowledge the fact that we didn't do a Yusuke video. Okay. That is the high option right now. That is the top of my tier list. That is an S tier option, not do Yusuke. But what if I told you, YouTube, there is a third option. You all know there is nothing I would not do for my 11 faithful subscribers. So, after much deliberation, much thought about skipping Yusuke, I decided to do the only reasonable thing. I flew straight to Inaba, Japan to sit under a sakura tree and absorb the essence of Japan until I liked Yusuke Kitagawa. And I have some... I sat under a sakura tree. Until I obtained the essence of Yusuke Kitagawa. I learned about Yusuke under that tree. I made snow angels in Inaba, Japan. Sitting under that tree, making those snow angels, that's when it hit me, YouTube. I know now why Yusuke Kitagawa is a great character. And I'm not just going to hold all of that knowledge inside, YouTube. I'm going to share it with all of you, my 11 faithful subscribers. So we all know that Atlas does this thing in Persona 5 where they make every single character an antagonist to the Phantom Thieves before they join as a member of the Phantom Thieves. Yusuke is no exception here. This is a psychological trick to make you like characters better, and in Persona 5, boy do they pull this off, especially with Yusuke. Because I am basic and I cannot remember anything when I look at the camera, I am gonna pull out my handy dandy notebook. My first point that I want to talk about with Yusuke, his chaotic character arc. I think that in terms of the Phantom Thieves as a whole, Yusuke actually has the most growth to go through. And hear me out here. He starts in a place where he is living in a house with his abuser, this person who is gaslighting them, this person who has groomed him since he was, I believe, 3 years old. And this is a person that Yusuke both resents. We find out when he says, I would rather not be here. I think it can be implied that he resents Madarame, but also idolizes. He worships Madarame. Madarame is the person who created the Sayuri. To Yusuke, Madarame is a huge deal. But unfortunately for him, the life of an artist, for most artists, is not exactly a stable one. He does not have any other place to go, or at least he doesn't believe he has any other place to go. So this means that Yusuke's starting point in his character arc is a little bit different than everybody else's. He is living with his abuser. He has to accept the fact that Madarame is his abuser before he can continue on in his character arc. And just accepting that could have been a complete character arc in itself in Persona 5, but that's not even close to the end of it for him. Now, there are two pivotal moments for Yusuke. One is when he actually meets the Phantom Thieves. The second pivotal moment is when he goes into the Peacock Room, the sealed Peacock Room that Madarame has kept him locked out of. The one that contains the blemished Sayuri prints.
Why are there so many of them?
I have no idea.
Speaking of the Sayuri, let's talk about this painting for a moment. The Sayuri is a painting that has been blemished. It's been tarnished by Madarame. This is a painting that Yusuke's mother painted, and Madarame, in a sense, ruined it. He tarnished it. It's blemished. How does Yusuke see Madarame? He idolizes Madarame at this point. His vision of Madarame is not clear at this point. And his vision of the Sayuri, his understanding of it, is also not clear. At this point, the Sayuri provides a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful symbol regarding Yusuke's character arc. Well, the next big moment is Yusuke's persona awakening, so let's turn that on. Let's watch that.
You are unforgivable. It doesn't matter who you are. I won't forgive you!
So, you repay my keeping you around for all these years with ingratitude? You damn brat! Men, dispose of these thieves!
How amusing.
Huh?
It seems the truth is stranger than fiction, huh?
Kitagawa-kun?
I wanted to believe it wasn't true. I had clouded my vision for so long. My eyes were truly blind. Blind and unable to see the true self behind this one horrible man.
Have you finally come to your senses? How foolishly you averted your eyes from the truth. A deplorable imitation indeed. Lest you part from that aspect of yourself. Let us now forge a contract. I am thou, thou art I. The world is filled with both beauty and vice. It is time you teach people which is which.
Very well. Come. Goemon! A breathtaking sight. Imitations they may be, but together they make a fine spectacle. Though the flowers of evil blossom, be it known, abominations are fated to perish!
Whoa, this is impressive!
Who do you think you are? The price for your insolence will be death! Where are my guards? Kill them all!
The children who adored you as father. The prospects of your pupils. How many did you trample upon? How many dreams did you exchange for riches? No matter what it takes, I will bring you to justice!
Now, Yusuke's persona awakening is actually symbolic of the moment that he decides to stand up to Madarame. This is where his character shifts. This is where him overcoming Madarame actually begins. We get to the end of the palace now, where the real Sayuri is revealed. The real Sayuri, yep, saying that right. And at the end of the palace, with the final confrontation with Madarame, where Yusuke finally overcomes Madarame, it's revealed that the Sayuri was a tarnished painting, that the original Sayuri was a painting painted by Yusuke's mother, who had a seizure that Madarame let die. This is the next big point in Yusuke's story. This is presented beautifully through the symbol of the untarnished Sayuri.
What made you change like this? Is it because you became famous? Can't you understand how much it pains me to inquire about the crimes of my foster father?
Now that I think back, the only reason why I took you in was due to my ties with your mother. That woman never lost her passion for painting, even after her husband died. Her skills and talents were quite astonishing. That's why I decided to look after her. Your mother and the artwork she created, they're all my works of art.
How low can you sink?
I suppose I can grant you a gift before you die. A glimpse of the genuine Sayuri.
Genuine? That's the real Sayuri? This can't be. Mom!
Indeed it is. This was painted by your mother. It's a portrait of herself. A woman who knew her death was coming painted her last wishes for the son she would leave behind. That is the truth behind the mystery of Sayuri's expression.
You stole something that personal?
I knew at first glance. I knew it'd be a huge success if I added a touch to the painting and announced it under my name. Well then, since you're my work of art, Yusuke, I'm going to reap you for the sake of my future, along with those insolent friends of yours there.
I can't believe you're treating both mother and son like they're objects. You're inhuman! Fox?
I've heard that you destroy your art once they outlive their usefulness. Did that include my mother as well?
She just so happened to have a seizure in front of me. That's when a thought crossed my mind. If I don't call for help and leave her be, I could obtain her painting without any strings attached.
No. You let her die?
She was physically weak. No one would doubt if she just dropped dead because of a seizure. Above all, Yusuke, didn't you think it was odd that I discovered your talent when you were only 3? The reason why I kept you around was to keep you from realizing the truth behind Sayuri!
You killed her.
The artistic talents you inherited from your mother were a delightful miscalculation, though. If I'm to steal ideas, it's much easier robbing the future of brats who won't talk back than adults. It's thanks to you that I came up with the idea. You have my gratitude.
Yusuke?
I thank you, Madarame. Every reason for me to forgive you has disappeared without a trace at this very moment. You aren't some rotten artist. You're a despicable fiend who wears the skin of an artist!
This is so good. This is part of what I love about Yusuke's character arc, is the symbolism through the art. The creators of his story had a lot of fun with this. So if the blemished Sayuri was symbolic of how Yusuke viewed Madarame, the unblemished Sayuri is symbolic of the same thing. Yusuke's view of Madarame is no longer clouded the same way that it was. The kind of cloudy streak at the bottom of the Sayuri has been removed at this point, and now it's just the painting that Yusuke's mother created. And you could say that Yusuke's view of events, his understanding, has become clear. The blemish on his understanding has been removed. For the rest of the main plot, Yusuke takes the place of an eccentric. You don't really ever know what he's going to say or do.
So this is where you two were. I've been searching for you.
He is this starving kid who never has enough money for anything. He can barely even afford food. Makes awful financial decisions when he actually has money. We never really know what he's going to say or what he's going to do. He's just that quirky. And I think that's where a lot of the charm for him comes from. The fact that his character is maintained and interesting throughout the rest of the main plot. This is one aspect that I can give a 10 out of 10. Definitely appreciate. Atlas did a good job on. Now here is the aspect that I think makes Yusuke's character great instead of good. I think it's the fact that his confidant story brings so much more to the table. Now, what happens in the main plot is Yusuke literally overcomes Madarame as an obstacle in his life. What happens in Yusuke's confidant plot is that he has to overcome the emotional damage. So it's more like he has to overcome like the figurative Madarame. So he's not done dealing with the emotional turmoil, the inner issues that are a result of Madarame's abuse since he was a child. He starts off his confidant story with a creative block that he believes is preventing him from creating art. He goes through this process of gaining inspiration with Joker's help along the way. And he winds up with this painting called Desire. Desire is this dark, twisted mass inspired by the architecture of mementos. What's beautiful about this is another painting that represents where Yusuke is in his character arc. So in Yusuke's character arc at this point, the creative block that he's experiencing is a symptom of the real issue, and that's the inner turmoil, the inner pain, the resentment toward Madarame that he feels. And this is represented beautifully in Desire. It's dark, it's contorted, it's perfectly representative of what Yusuke is feeling in that moment. Just freaking good. It's just freaking good. Now, Yusuke winds up with this painting at the end of his character arc. It's called Desire and Hope. Instead of this dark, twisted thing that it was before, it's this dark, twisted thing that has a layer of hope on it, a layer of brightness. And I believe this symbolizes another place in Yusuke's character arc. This symbolizes that he's gotten to a point where he accepts the pain, the resentment, and the negativity that Madarame has brought into his life. But he's also brought to this understanding that, one, the future is hopeful, Madarame is in the past, but also that the good moments with Madarame were good. Madarame probably did care for him. Can you imagine the situation, the pain that he must feel? Imagine the chaos that his life is. He starts in this place with his caretaker who is abusing him, that he idolizes. He has been groomed to worship this man. He realizes that he's being abused. He overcomes that abuse literally in the physical space, and then he overcomes the abuse a second time. He has to continue on with his life. He overcomes it a second time with expression, with 4 different paintings representing where he is in his character arc. At the beginning with the tarnished Sayuri, the untarnished Sayuri after he overcomes Madarame, then Desire, before he learns to deal with his feelings about what's happened in his past, and then Desire and Hope, representing that the future is hopeful and that the good things in his past actually were good things. I find these paintings to be the most powerful and compelling symbols in all of Persona 5. And they really just contribute to this thing about Yusuke. All of the aspects of his character build on and synergize with each other. Let's break out the handy dandy list. Number 1, he's an artist who lives and breathes art. Number 2, his character arc is perfectly chaotic. It fits so well the chaos that is art. Art is chaos. It's beautiful chaos. It's chaos given order. His shameless, quirky personality, the chaotic symbolism of Desire and Hope, they all meld into this beautiful thing that just builds up to something that is more than the sum of its parts. Now, because I want to give you all something more, something that you don't get in every other YouTube video, Goemon was this Eastern Robin Hood anti-authoritarian figure, which is perfectly befitting of Yusuke because he is an artist, and art, a lot of art is all about liberation, right? Liberating and obtaining freedom from the man is a big part of art, right? It fits pretty well that Yusuke's persona would be a historical anti-authoritarian. In one rendition of the Goemon story, on his deathbed, he wrote a poem, and one line in this poem said, let me pull out my notebook, "No matter what, thieves would always exist," which is a powerful statement considering the group they belong to is called the Phantom Thieves. Like, regardless of the challenges that they face, thieves would always exist. Like, regardless of what happens, there would always be somebody to stop injustice. Now, there's one other aspect about Goemon, one other thing I was able to dig up that I thought was interesting. In one rendition of the Goemon story, Goemon learns that his father was killed and he avenges his father. So, Yusuke, like Goemon, avenged his parent. Intentional or not, it's at least a fun play on the original story. All right, you guys know how I love voice actors, so we are going to talk about Yusuke's voice actor. He is voiced by Matthew Mercer, and oh my god, Matthew Mercer is a powerhouse. Let me pull out my trusty notebook, my handy dandy notebook, and list off some of the characters that Matthew Mercer voices. Levi Ackerman from Attack on Titan. Leorio from Hunter x Hunter. Yamato and Pain from Naruto. Trafalgar Law from One Piece. Leo Kennedy from Resident Evil 6. Kanji in Persona 4 The Animation. And he even voices Kindred's Wolf in League of Legends. Yeah, Kindred's Wolf. He's a big deal. So that's just to name a few. He also does quite a few others. Now, another fun fact for you. Kamu Susanoo, the Digimon that Goemon digivolves into, is the god of storms. Is it a coincidence that Yusuke brings heavy rains with him wherever he goes? Maybe, but maybe not. I'm just asking questions. And my final fun fact for you is that Yusuke, standing at 5'11", is the tallest Phantom Thief. Now, I would like to thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, please consider liking and subscribing. It will help the channel a lot. I appreciate you all watching the video, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks.